The classic sitcom Happy Days entertained audiences for 11 laughter-filled seasons on ABC from 1974 to 84. One of the most beloved shows of its era, this nostalgic comedy starred Ron Howard as wholesome teenager Richie Cunningham, alongside Henry Winkler as ultra-cool biker Arthur Fonzie. With over 250 episodes, Happy Days amassed its fair share of amusing bloopers and behind-the-scenes mishaps. Join Facts First as we present This Scene Wasn't Edited. Look closer at the Happy Days blooper. Fonzie's ever-changing apartment. One of the most amusing continuity errors in Happy Days is the constant changes to Fonzie's living quarters over the 11 seasons. When we first meet the Fonz in Season 1, he lives in a tiny apartment above the Cunningham family's garage. But later seasons showed him moving into increasingly lavish digs with little explanation. By Season 3, Fonzie's apartment had expanded to a 2-room suite featuring a separate kitchen and full bathroom. Just a year later, in Season 4, he's somehow upgraded to a waterfront apartment with sweeping views. And in later years, his home decor goes from sparse to outright glamorous, with Fonzie displaying priceless works of art and statues. Chalk it up to Fonzie becoming more mainstream and quote-unquote selling out with fame. Or perhaps ABC merely gave Henry Winkler a budget increase to indulge his character's decadent tastes. Richie's many love interests. As the all-American boy next door, Richie Cunningham had no shortage of potential love interests over Happy Days' long run. But keeping all of his temporary girlfriends straight could be nearly impossible. In the early years, he dated Gloria, Linda Pearl, and Arlene, Deborah Lee Scott. But by Season 4, his steady lady was Lori Beth Allen, Linda Goodfriend. However, before settling on Lori Beth, Richie was briefly engaged to buxom blonde Chrissy. Their wedding plans were scrapped when Chrissy's true party girl personality proved too much for Richie's wholesomeness. Guest stars galore. With Happy Days enjoying immense popularity during its peak years, the show had no trouble attracting famous guest stars. Season 3's Halloween episode featured blonde bombshell Morgan Fairchild as a buxom treat who catches Richie's eye. Odd Couple star Tony Randall showed up in Season 2 for a fantasy werewolf movie scene. And Linda Goodfriend's real-life sister Lori even appeared in a Season 5 episode playing Joni's stuck-up friend Lisa. But the most surprising and random cameo belonged to John Lennon in Season 2. Yep, the legendary Beatles founder arrived on set in 1975 to introduce his son Julian to the cast. One can only imagine what Fonzie and Richie would have to say while hanging at Arnold's with a star even bigger than their own guesting on Happy Days. Behind the laughter. It's no secret that Happy Days employed a live studio audience along with a laugh track, sweetening reactions to punchlines on tape. And by all accounts, keeping a straight face was Henry Winkler's biggest challenge. Whether facing silly guest stars or up-and-coming comedians like Robin Williams, the actors had to stifle chuckles while staying in character. In the famous Season 5 opener where Fonzie literally jumps the shark, Winkler himself barely kept composure, doing his own water skiing and acrobatic stunts. Years later, director Jerry Paris confessed the risky ski jump had cast and crew holding their breath until Winkler surfaced safely. The one where Fonz wore glasses. Henry Winkler's tough guy Fonz persona defined cool for countless Happy Days viewers. So it's utterly bizarre to see footage of the Fonz wearing actual eyeglasses in an early episode. In the first season installment, Because She's There, a squinting Fonzie reluctantly dons dark specs after Joni and Chachi convince him he needs glasses. Naturally, the vision-correcting eyewear cramps the Fonz's smooth style. He trips on a hose and falls right on his leather-jacketed behind. This nerdy moment is likely why Because She's There rarely appears in syndication reruns. Out-of-character scenes portraying beloved icons like Superman or Fonzie as weak undermine audience perceptions. Lights, camera, blunders. With multiple cameras filming simultaneously on the Happy Days set, editing out verbal flubs or visual errors was nearly impossible. As such, attentive fans can catch all manner of bloopers and continuity glitches by re-watching episodes closely. For example, Richie uses anachronistic phrases like, "I have to book," a decade before that slang emerged. and clothing mysteriously changes between shots, like a jacket disappearing from a character's shoulders. Happy Days saw its share of unscripted physical comedy as well. In the season 10 episode Letting Go, Scott Baio and a guest star crash hard while roller skating, collapsing in a tangle of limbs. And Henry Winkler once caught his shoe in a track while approaching his bike, forcing a quick cutaway. When spinoffs collide. As one of ABC's biggest hits ever, Happy Days spawned no less than 6 spin-off series. Joni Loves Chachi followed the musical misadventures of Joni Cunningham and Fonzie's nephew, Chachi Arcola, in Chicago. And illegal alien Mork from Ork got his own zany sitcom, Mork and Mindy, after appearing in Happy Days to abduct Richie. Naturally, with so many shared characters, the various shows overlapped now and then. Laverne and Shirley's titular brewery workers guest starred in a Happy Days episode, and Fonzie himself crashed Mork and Mindy seeking Richie's whereabouts. But even hardcore Happy Days fans can be forgiven for forgetting Blank Sea's beauties. This obscure Nancy Walker spinoff lasted for just 13 episodes on ABC's 1977 schedule. Dressing the part. Happy Days offered a nostalgic peek at 1950s fashion with the Cunningham family and Fonzie sporting classic threads of the era. But how did costume designers accurately recreate key looks decade after decade? In the early seasons, budget restrictions had the cast wearing actual vintage clothing found in thrift stores by set designers. As the show became a huge hit, more money was allotted to dress the cast in custom-made golden era fashions. Behind Arnold's Jukebox. Happy Days fans know Arnold's Drive-In Diner was the gang's regular hangout before cruising Milwaukee in Richie's car. And Arnold's wasn't complete without the glowing Wurlitzer jukebox pumping out 1950s hits to set the mood. But who was actually singing those classic tunes accompanying Fonzie's trademark fist pumps? Surprisingly, the voice behind Arnold's jukebox was none other than Anson Williams. Unable to afford royalties from the biggest pop acts and rock and roll hits of the era, producers had Williams record knockoff versions to sidestep fees. So while the music sure sounds era appropriate, don't expect to hear Elvis or Chuck Berry on the Happy Days soundtrack. Anson's convincing imitation vocals were close enough to be perfect for a little walk down memory lane in Milwaukee. Richie's absent brother revealed. For much of Happy Days' run, the Cunninghams' oldest son Chuck is curiously absent, despite being referenced now and then. Actor Randolph Roberts actually originated the role before disappearing altogether. But decades later, Happy Days star Anson Williams revealed just what happened to brother Chuck. According to Williams, Roberts was a poor fit acting alongside Ron Howard. So series creator Gary Marshall quickly wrote Chuck Cunningham off to college. Now it's time to hear from you. Which of these facts was most surprising to hear about? Let us know in the comments section below.